Greetings to everyone out there. A number of years ago, I saw a movie, As Good as It Gets, and it stars Jack Nicholson as a writer with obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, he's a man of great accomplishments, but he is miserable in his condition, and to be quite frank, he's miserable to be around. And there's this one scene where he's freaking out about something that's happened in his life, and he runs to his therapist's office and he barges in unannounced, literally screaming for help. Well, his therapist gets him calmed down and then escorts him out so he can make a proper appointment instead of barging in. And as Jack Nicholson's character is walking through the waiting room, he pauses and he looks around at everybody that's there and he says, "What if this is as good as it gets?" Now, it's an incredibly honest question, but it's also a hard question. Can things get better than what they are at this moment? And really what this is a question of hope. Can we hope? And really the thing is, hope is essential to life. Fyodor Dostoevsky wrote this: "Totally without hope, one cannot live. To live without hope is to cease to live. Hell is hopelessness. It's no accident that above the entrance to Dante's hell is the inscription, 'Leave behind all hope, you who enter here.'" Martin Luther King Jr. wrote this: "Even in the inevitable moments when all seems hopeless, men know that without hope, they cannot really live. And in agonizing desperation, they cry for the bread of hope." And St. Augustine wrote this: "There is no love without hope, no hope without love, and neither hope nor love without faith." Now, for those of us in the Christian tradition, it leaves us with the question, does our faith give any real hope? And I would say that the pattern of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus lays out a pattern for us, and a promise that gives us hope that this is not as good as it gets. There is more to what God has for us, more than what I am now, more than how things are in the world and in my life. There's more to my experience of God than what I'm currently experiencing. The Apostle John wrote in the Revelation chapter 21, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away.' And he who was seated on the throne said, 'Behold, I am making all things new.'" I don't need to convince anybody that in the world things are not as they should be. We see war, we see racial strife, inequity, injustice, loss, grief. I get discouraged, particularly as I think about the state of the church in America today. When I see the character of our actions, the behavior of some of my colleagues in the clergy, I see some people doing very good work, but I also see pastors who are building their own kingdoms. I work with a lot of people that I'm pastoring people who have experienced abuse under spiritual leaders who have led out of their insecurity, have led out of their ego and maybe even narcissism, private kingdom builders instead of compassionate, loving shepherds. But I would also say this attitude is not exclusive to ministry. We see that kingdom building attitude and narcissism in business and politics, and sometimes even in our neighborhood associations. And it leaves us asking the question, after we experience these these interactions. Is this as good as it gets? Is this as good as it gets? This is the first Sunday of Advent, and Advent simply means the arrival, the coming of a dignitary, of a very important person. And we begin to celebrate the arrival of God himself in the Christ child this Sunday. Now, traditionally, the first Sunday of Advent highlights hope. Hope for relief, hope for salvation, the hope for something better than what we're experiencing now. And God came in the flesh to live in this fallen world. And because he loved us, he overcame the world. How did he do it? By living a perfect life, by offering himself to atone for our failings, by rising from the dead and breaking the curse of the fall. And though we walk through a fallen and broken world, and in so doing we experience its miseries, its wounds, its humiliations, Christ is going to redeem it all. The resurrection will filter into all aspects of life. And where there is war, there will be peace. Where there was hurt, there is going to be healing. Where there is death, there will be new life. Jesus is going to set all things right. He's going to make all things new. How things are now is not as good as it gets. There's more. And so hope. Hope for more in this life and the next. Blessings on you all, and Merry Christmas.